Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb's also a pilot. And Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. And if you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or go ahead and search for it on other podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market and one of people's largest assets, the home. Barb, what are we covering today?
Well, Richard, the first topic's probably going to surprise some people because I'm going to be covering where home prices are expected to go in 2026 in Colorado. And when you hear the answer, I think you're going to be quite surprised. So it's a tough market right now. And if you need to sell in the next 12 months, you need to be prepared and don't be surprised. So I'm excited to share this data. I get it from several different sources. One of them I trust, one of them I don't. And we'll be discussing that and figuring out, okay, if you need to sell in the next 12 to 18 months, what is the best strategy for you? And if you're a buyer, what's the best strategy? And then the second topic is why accepting a cash offer actually may be the best solution for some home sellers if they need to sell their home in Colorado. They are a little bit more expensive than selling to a live-in-the-home buyer, but a lot of people are very interested in getting that certainty of sale. They don't want surprises. They don't want I just had a seller complain to me this morning that, well, at this price, I didn't really want to do any repairs. And I tried to explain to her, a live-in-the-home buyer is going to expect everything. They are going to want to give you that price, and then followed by they're going to expect the house to be almost new. And it doesn't help that inspectors get in the game and make them think that they deserve a new home. And that's going to be the third topic, which is how to avoid contract failures on a home inspection when selling your home. I think you'll be surprised at some of the things that we're seeing from home inspections lately. They're coming out and being all of a sudden the house condition gods and claiming that water heaters must be dead if they're more than 8 years old, smoke detectors must be dead if they're more than 10 years old, and the same with carbon monoxide detectors. And don't forget roofs. If that's more than 10 years old, you need a new one, and without regard to what condition those systems are in. So they've gotten out of control. And I'm not a big regulation girl, but I really wish this was the one trade that there would be some sort of oversight or regulation for inspectors, but there isn't. There is no qualification to be an inspector. I could be an inspector, and I'm scary with a screwdriver in my hands. And then the last topic we're going to cover is what's the best way to sell a house fast in Colorado when we're in this market scenario. We've got higher inventory, much longer days on market. It creeped up in El Paso County to over 106 days on market right now. Most sellers don't want to deal with that. And we have solutions for you. And as always, I love covering our hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, with the rates not changing, there are fewer buyers that can afford a home these days. How do you sell a home with fewer buyers to choose from?
Well, it's part of it is supply and demand, but you have to look at what is the supply for a house like yours, right? Not every home is the same. There's high-end homes, there are lower-end homes, right? There are homes that have more or less square footage than you do, and you just have to position the home to be the best home on the market for that time. And you have to take into consideration what your current competition is right now. The interest rates are not helping us. And the problem is a majority of the buyer population right now, their age, Gen Xers, which is in their 50s, I think, Millennials, they're in their 30s and 40s and maybe late 20s. Gen Z is younger than that. That is the bulk of the buyer population. And the only thing they have seen in their history is back in 4 years ago, the interest rates were 2.5%, 3%. And they're actually expecting that to happen again. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the reason why the super low interest rates took place is that the government was spending money to buy down the interest rate to boost the housing market artificially. And it worked. It absolutely did work. Prices accelerated up 40% across 4 years. And now we're in a situation where the new generation of buyers are expecting to see low interest rates, but they also want the homes to be affordable. So at the end of the day, it's all about house payment and how much they can afford and what the rent costs are. And I think having more people in the country and more demand for housing is another factor. Even rentals have gotten crazy expensive in the last couple of years. And if you really look at the big picture, this is true for all along the Front Range. It's also true all across the country. In general, since 2023, right after the Fed started raising the rates like crazy, the volume of sales has been relatively the same, like flatlining across the board. And what we've seen this year is the interest rates are pretty much relatively the same. So I checked interest rates this morning. Now it's gone back again, up a little bit, 6.38% conventional, just a tick over 6% for the government loans, FHA and VA. And of course, you could buy down your interest rate. So if you have a little bit of extra cash and or negotiating power when you're buying a home, you can buy down the interest rate and actually get a lower payment for the house. However, there's obviously a cost to that. And you have to work with a good mortgage broker and figure out what is it going to take to get a payment that's affordable for you. I don't think the rates are going to drop a whole lot across next year. My crystal ball and my brain says best case, we'll get down there with the fives in front of it and probably stay that way for a long time. That's my guess, but I don't know for sure. And if you look at what the market has done historically, just in the past, say, 3.5 months since August 1st, the median list price has dropped by $25,000. The average days on market has increased. Now, what days on market means is the time from when the house goes on the market to the time the seller accepts a contract. It's usually another 30 days after that where you actually get to the finish line. So you got to build in a good 4 or 5 months in this market right now to get your home sold and get paid to move on to your next home. Now, a lot of things have affected that. The government shutdown did not help. We've got a lot of government workers in and around this area with 5 military bases not too far away. A lot of those people's paycheck were put on hold for almost 2 months. That's hard for most people to sustain. So I think that will probably turn around. We'll see a little bit of improvements in my crystal ball early in the year. But in general, we're just seeing that the inventory is on the higher side as compared to what it was in 2023 and 2024. The mortgage rates are steady as we go. We've dropped a full percentage point since the beginning of the year. And the smart builders, the smart lenders, the smart sellers are offering incentives to get buyers to make offers. Things like, hey, we'll provide you with some of the loan closing costs to buy down the interest rate to get you a better payment. The builders are doing that very successful now. And that's how they're kind of keeping their sales up. And most of all, it's very important that you hire an agent that knows how to create demand for your home. You wouldn't believe, I mean, I look at listings and homes every day in my day-to-day work, and I'm shocked how many agents still put imagery and photos out there of homes that make them look awful. It doesn't matter what price range it is. If your first showing is online, make the bed and pick up the clutter. I mean, is that asking too much, Richard?
Sounds like you have a teenager there. It is not too much to ask to make the bed, pick up the room, and have it look presentable. It's going to help you sell the home and get more money.
Right. And in my view, it's just malpractice for a real estate agent to put that out there as marketing. They're better off not putting any pictures in my view, because I don't think it's helping them. And they're just thinking, oh, well, it's an as-is deal. I don't have to make any kind of effort, which is just not true. The more buyers you get in the door, the more likely you are to get a buyer to raise their hand and say, I want to make an offer on the house, even if it's priced below market, even if you think you're going to get multiple offers. The better it looks online, the more opportunities that you have to pick the best offer for you. So at the end of the day, it's all about pricing, preparation, and promotion, and we can help you do that. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about where we expect prices to go in 2026. And next up, I'm going to give you some predictions from experts that will shock you. Richard?
So, Barb, we're discussing what home buyers and home sellers can expect from the real estate market and what it will be doing in 2026. What are your sources, Barb? What are they predicting?
Well, I've done a little bit of a deep dive and I invest in different data providers to give me an idea of kind of looking into their crystal ball, looking into what the market is doing right now. And most of the experts currently think that homes are what they call overvalued, meaning during that time when the rates were down at 2% and there were bidding wars on every single home that was pretty much on the market, and it was driving the prices way up above current market value. Those values kind of held. We didn't really drop like an elevator. We've only dropped a few percentage points, right? And now we're in a situation where the rates are higher, the buyers can't afford it. There's only so many buyers in a given market. Guess what? They're not buying. And over time, if the seller needs to sell, the trend is most of them are actually dropping the prices. So I pulled two data sources. One of them is Zillow. And Zillow has a much more optimistic view of where the prices are going to go next year. They do think the prices are going to keep dropping, but not by very much, a few percentage points here and there. But my other data source, which is probably the most accurate, they're talking about a much bigger correction depending on what zip code you are in. It could be anywhere from 4 to as much as double-digit percentage points. And there are some areas, northern El Paso County and Elbert and Black Forest, that are going to remain flat, which is a good thing. If the markets overall are correcting and the prices are going to be flat for those areas, that means they're priced, they're not overvalued, they're priced right for what the buyers are demanding. So that was the biggest surprise to me, is to see these experts come out and actually predict that the prices are going down. So what do you do in that scenario? Guess what? Bidding wars are less likely to happen, but they happen in any market, in any situation. I just had one last weekend on a property. I got 3 offers, and I couldn't get these agents to understand what best and highest meant. I had one, Richard, that actually asked me to show her the other offers. Now, how would you feel about that if you're the seller?
Oh my gosh, no. And I think you mentioned the term fiduciary quite a bit.
Yeah.
You guard your information and your clients very, very well.
Yeah. So anyway, but it didn't drive it way up over asking price, but the concessions went away. One of them obviously didn't throw their best offer in there. And there's only one buyer that could get the house. So whoever made the best offer got the house. It's just that simple. And if it's priced right, it will happen even still in this market. And we know exactly how to do that. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com and we can help you. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, simply call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing why accepting a cash offer may be the best solution for a home sale here in Colorado.